Hey makers, today we're going to cover the brightest of the 4 pillars of production equipment, lighting. Not just 3-point lights and color temps, but we're going to go in deeper with CRIs, lumens, and lux to see how you can make your projects pop, and I'm going to explain how to get rid of raccoon eyes created from overhead shop lights. 3-point lighting does not mean 3 bulbs, but rather sources from 3 directions. The first of these 3 is your key light. It could be the sun, a studio light, a window, anything that is your main light at 100% of the light needed. Let's fill in this shadow, but not erase it, by adding a fill light around 70 to 80% of the key's power based on the distance from the subject. Now, if your added light erases the shadow, you simply have 2 key lights, not a key and a fill. The third point is the backlight, whose purpose is to give definition, maybe like a third dimension look to the subject. Let me make this a little easier, and I'm going to turn the backlight red so it stands out better. See, that line right there on the edge is what gives your subject definition. In a workshop, you won't use 3-point lighting, or will you? Overhead strip lights are actually your key light in full flood mode. Their reflections are acting as a low quality fill backlight, but you're still missing a real fill light, and that's where the raccoon eyes come from these overhead shop lights. These shadows you see right below your eyebrows are made worse the higher your ceiling is from you. This animation is simulated at 8 feet, and if we move up, this is 11 feet. To fix this, all you have to do is add a small underlight, and you don't have to shine it directly on and go full Morticia Adams. You just need a little bit to ease the shadows. And all right, I know this is just a simulation, and in a moment, I'm gonna take you out to the shop so you can see this in real life. But before we go out to the shop, I need to cover a few more specs. When lighting your workshop, the color temp of your lights is not the only thing to think of. Lumens, lux, and CRI are just as important. Lumen is the measure of total light from the source in all directions. Lux is the measure of the light on a surface. For professional lighting, this is usually 1 meter square area lit from 1 meter away. An old school 60-watt bulb might have 500 lumens. This studio light that I'm using is 4600 lumens, but it's 4100 lux at 1 meter. CRI, or color rendering index, is the effect light has on the true color representation of the material or subject. Let's simulate this with 2 lights and 2 pieces of paper. As you see, if I shine a white light, you have a white piece of paper and a red piece of paper. If I shine only the red light, you see we have 2 red pieces of paper. The closer the CRI number is to 100, the more true the color is. Now, I shoot in a 5000 to 5600K setup in my shop or in here with a CRI of 94 to 96. But in my workshop, I keep 3500 degree color temp lights because it's a lot more pleasing and enjoyable for me during day-to-day action. And speaking of the shop, I think it's time to go see this in action. This is going to be my main shooting location once we're done setting everything up, building the French cleat wall, etc. I'm shooting under 5600K LED strips, but I only use these lights for shooting. When I'm out here working, I use normal household bulbs that are in the 3600K range. They're warmer, they're more enjoyable. I could shoot with them, but wood does not show the correct color because of the CRI. The color rendering index is not true color. One of the pitfalls of having these overhead LED lights is the raccoon eyes. So if you look, you can see below my eyes is a pretty pronounced shadow because of the heavy overhead lights. Now to fix this, all I have to do is add a small underlight. Now this is just an LED panel dialed in at the same temperature, and it's below the monitor here and on a flexible arm. And you can see how easy it is to remove or add back those raccoon overhead shadows. For my next point, I'm going to move to another location and put the white garage door at my back. These are the same overhead lights as what I was using in the other spot, but here I'm able to take that underlight to remove the raccoon eyes, and I've used a basic LED landscape light to add some color. So if I turn both of these off, you'll see this is a pretty drab and dreary shot, but turn on the light, turn on my underlight, and it's just a little bit better. And you can do this with landscape lights, DJ lights, you know, anything that adds a colored wash to your background. Now let's go back into the studio and wrap everything up. In summary, 3-point lighting is not just 3 bulbs, but light from 3 directions or from 3 sources: your key, your fill, and your backlight. Lumens is the measure of light in all directions from the source. Lux is the measure of light on the destination on a 1 meter square area. And CRI is the measure of how true a color is based on the light. In our next video, we're going to hit the next pillar of production equipment, and that's audio. What is a supercardioid? What is a hypercardioid? What is a regular cardioid or a lapel, a lavalier mic? And then what the heck is this Rode wireless thing? And a handful other microphones like the Shure voiceover that I use. Makers, I'll see you next time when we attack audio equipment.